Godzilla x Kong New Empire is exactly what you expect from the trailers and from the monsterverse in general. It's loud, it's bombastic, it's a little bit epic, and has some really lame human characters. But it doubles down on the things that the fans have wanted for so long from this franchise, and depending on who you are, that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Let's attack it. Godzilla and the Almighty Kong face a colossal threat hidden deep within the planet in Hollow Earth. Challenging their very existence and the survival of the human race, they must team up to take on this new foe. One thing I'll give this franchise is that each tone for each movie and the feeling of each movie is different across each film, and I think that Godzilla x Kong Empire takes all the things that people really liked from each movie and doubles down on it in terms of the brightness, the really great VFX, and the quirky, corny, cringy, funny moments in the movie that some people roll their eyes at and some people have a little blast with. They just double down on those things, and they cut down on some of the things that we were bored with or annoyed with, like too many human characters, too much human drama interfering with the kaiju battles. This is more focused on the kaijus more than any other film has been in the franchise so far, and to me personally, I think it benefits from it because I really want to see Kong and Godzilla and these other monsters. We have this whole Hollow Earth area to explore now, and that's what they do. Kong continues to be the best character in the franchise. The way they just position him, he just has a lot of human traits would make you easy to relate to him and make him likable. Here he's in Hollow Earth as like he joined Hollow Earth in the last film. He's here now. He's exploring, trying to find his people and dominating whatever species tries to attack him in the process. And his journey here of him finding like another like baby Kong, which we saw in the trailers, and finding other monkeys basically and chimpanzees. I really wish the movie just focused on that. I kind of wish this movie was a Kong film where he explored Hollow Earth. He got this little companion, kind of like a Last of Us situation, a Logan situation. He just had to face off against this new villain called the Scar King. I think that would have been a more interesting film while still also being epic, but Godzilla exists, so we definitely gonna get that crossover. And let's talk about the big man. Godzilla Minus One has a lot of people talking about the franchise being refreshed and everything. Unfortunately, the Godzilla in this film still has no personality. While I feel like Kong has tons of personality and is very likable, Godzilla is just, if you make noise inside of my home, which is Earth, I'm coming over to beat you. That's it. He has no personality, no motives, or she. I'm not sure the gender of this Godzilla. In this movie, almost feels like no rhyme or reason sometimes, like until halfway through the film, why Godzilla does what he does. Even with the cool pink upgrade that they got, it felt like it was useless towards the end of the movie. I'm not gonna lie. I really got hyped that they were gonna do something a little different because the trailer showed them getting these pink highlights, but it was just to sell toys. The two highlights here is that the number of humans in the film that have speaking roles have been cut down immensely. You're cutting a lot of the fat and a lot of the extra characters that we've seen come into the monsterverse that we did not need, and got like a real cool core of characters that interact really well, and their story doesn't interfere with the characters that we want to see, which is the kaijus. They support the kaiju stuff. The most boring parts of the movie is when they try to focus so much on them and the lore of the humans and try to do things like that. That's where the movie lost me a little bit. But once the kaijus come back into play, it gets really exciting, especially in that third act. The fights are grand and epic. Brutal, colorful, really, really fun. It's really a big thrill ride, and that's the one reason I would say go check this out on the big screen, because there's way more kaiju battles in this film than there's been in any film that we've had so far. They do a really great job of making them all unique, all feel different, so you not feel like you're watching rinse and repeat over and over. Kong and Godzilla working together is so cool. That scene that you see them coming out the ground and Kong hops on the back of Godzilla, it's still cool in the movie, even though we saw it in the trailer a million times. And I think with the context of what's going on just adds to the moment. And they didn't show the coolest parts in the trailer, which is awesome. I really had a fun time with that, and I think it's worth checking out on the big screen. One thing I will say is the one thing I miss from the past films like Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island, and even in King of Monsters and in Godzilla vs. Kong, is that the way they showcased the kaijus, the scale of the kaijus, the way they make them feel so towering and oppressive, how high and big they were, and how comparing to humans, how big they were. They've kind of lost that completely with this change in tone, where it feels more Fast and Furious than it did before, where they're not taking itself so seriously. It's kind of leaning into the camp a bit, but now the kaijus kind of feel like they're just a part of the environment. They don't feel so epic and big anymore. They just feel like normal characters. So they lose their luster just a tiny bit, unfortunately. The sacrifice there causes it to have like a lot of fun in terms of the action. One thing I can implore this movie is that they created their own villain, which is the Scar King. And I was really excited about that, because obviously so far we've been using villains that are in the Godzilla lexicon and lore so far, and Kong lore. But this movie, they decided to create their own villain, which I thought the presentation of the villain was really cool. The action that the villain did was really cool. But other than that, it didn't really go any further than that. The movie is not sinking to be anything than less than shallow, and it hurts the most with the villain. I think if the villain was a little bit better written and more cooler and more like had a more dominating presentation, I think this movie would have been elevated to something that was really, really great. But I thought it was good. So with that said, I'm going to give Godzilla Kong New Empire a C. Did you like it? Did you? What would you rate Godzilla Kong New Empire? What were your favorite parts? And if you didn't get to check out the movie yet, are you going to go check it out based on my review? If you like my review, hit the like button and attack the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to for my reviews, reactions, live discussions, and much, much more. You can watch more content right now.